and I'll be the one presenting today. So my topic today is writing clean and maintainable code. So today I won't just be talking about just writing code as a web developer, but I'm talking about how to write clean code that other people can read and understand. So what does it mean by writing clean and maintainable code? Clean and maintainable code does not just mean writing code that just works. If you are a developer, it doesn't mean that, okay, if my code works, my code is clean. No, 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 no. When I'm talking about clean and maintainable code, we are talking about code that are readable by others. And for like, you don't onboard anybody to the team and everything, they can see your code and it will be easy for them to understand. I don't know. I'm hearing my voice at the background. It is all I'm saying. Miss Olabisi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It seems your voice is breaking. Is your network?
It's my net. Oh, my network. What of now?
Okay, please proceed.
Okay. Once we are talking about writing code, my voice is echoing back. I don't know if it's only me. So we're talking about this thing, writing maintainable code. We're talking about code that are easy for people to change without making fear. We're talking about code that are easy for teams to scale with time. We're talking about code that it's easy for them to debug and also easy for them to onboard good people without having an issue. So clean code automatically means understandable and changeable code that are easy to read and also easy to understand. The thing is, you should know that a messy code as a developer is not good because it will be hard for you to debug or if you have any issue. So now we're talking about why care about maintainability. So I'll be talking about three aspects. The first aspect is for you, which is for you as the developer. So the first reason why you must be able to write a clean code is it helps with less debugging error. Once your code is clean, it will be like easy for you to debug your code. Second point is confidence refactoring. We are talking of refactoring, we are talking of codes that you want to like you can improve without you changing your code. So as a developer, you need to learn how to write code that you can refactor anytime. In case you want to add any feature later on in the future, you won't just add the feature without you breaking the code. Then also the third point is your future will thank you. I'm sure as a developer, we've all like gone through this experience whereby we've written a code of like let's say 6 months, 7 months, 8 months ago. Then later we come back to check our code. If your code is messy, trust me, even though you're doing the right, you won't be able to like understand your code. You will have like trouble understanding your code. But if your code is clean, even if it's 1 year after, 2 years after, you'll be able to like okay, read through the whole line, okay, this one do this one do that, and to help you. Now for the second point, which is for the team. We are talking of team. It helps to faster onboarding. That means if you want to onboard many people on the team, it's easy for them to like understand your code. Also fewer the bugs and from changes. If you are working Sorry for the interruption. So when we're talking about for a team now, the second point is fewer debug from changes. Meaning as a team, if you want to like make changes and you have issue, if your code is clean, it will be easy for your team members to like locate where the error is from and also make changes. Also, the third point for team is better collaboration. As a team now, if people want to collaborate with you, once your code is clean and it's readable and understandable, it's easier for other devs. Okay, let's say you are a front end, you're back end, and extra front end and back end want to join you as a team. As long as your code is not messy, it's easier for them to like join you and them to understand and work on your project with you. Then the third aspect is the business aspect, which is for like organization. Let's say example income now. One of the reasons for writing a clean code is number one, lowers long-term cost. Now the thing is, it's easier to like maintain clean code, but expensive to maintain messy code, features delivery. Now let's say okay, as an organization, you work on like a project like 1 year. So let's say like after 1 year, you want to add like a new feature. And let us assume it is not the dev that like started the project is not going to work on it. It will be easier for any dev that wants to work on that project for that organization to like implement the feature they want to implement very fast because the code is well understandable and readable. Then it also helps to scale product. Now we're moving to the next point, which is core principles of writing clean code. So what are the principles of writing clean code? Number one, meaningful names, which are your variables, your function, your class. So once you're writing names or writing variable, you must have to learn how to like name your variable with a meaningful name. Let's say you want to like create a variable about name. You can write variables by name is equal to this person name. So that way, if any other developer comes to check your code, they'll know, okay, this variable, this function, this is what it does, this is what it does. Then the second principle is write small functions and methods. One of the one of the things some developers do is they write a function or a class that like draws multiple functions or anything, which is not meant to be. So if you're writing a function, okay, let's say a function that solves only this one, a function that solves only this one. That way your code will be clean too. Then single responsibility. When you're writing one class or one module, let's one module only have one responsibility instead of multiple responsibilities. Then don't repeat yourself. Avoid duplication. Now for cases whereby writing like reusable code, okay, let's say you're writing a code, you use it in point A or use it in component A, component B, you're going to use that same code too. The best practice of the safe practice is for you to write a reusable code so that you won't like duplicate it. For example, now let's say a component A, you wrote something. Component B, you use that same code in component B. In component C, you use that same code in component C. Now, let's say later on in the future, you want to now make a change. You have to make the change in both component A, component B, and component C, which is more stressful. But the best practice is avoid duplication, whereby you just use reusable code. So you write the function once, and you reuse that function in all your code, so that later on in the future, if you want to make changes, you just make changes only once in that code, and to take effect in any other place you use that code. Then another core principle is consistent styling. We are talking about consistent styling, we are talking about formatting, how you structure your files. Okay, this one will be inside your components file, this one will be inside your folder file, This one be inside your page file. This one be under your app scripts and all those stuff too. Then next we go into more principles that scales. So number one, modular design. You don't just write design of that just more than one module. You just only do just one module. Then you comment for why and not what. Now, if you're a developer, you know what to mean by comments. Comments are like when you things you comment out of people so that user won't see it on the web page. So when you're writing your code, you can like write, okay, this function is meant for this, and you write a comment, okay, this function is meant for this, so that in case if you or any other developer wants to come back and don't understand your code, once they read your comments, they will like understand, okay, this is what your code does. Then another one is error handling and logging. That means like, okay, you're writing code, you can add, okay, console.log, so that it also helps you in debugging, so you can see your error in your console. Automated test. That means as you're writing, you test your code. As you make changes, you test your code. Then refactor ruthlessly. I want you to know that simple is durable. Complexity kills maintainability. So anytime you're writing code, try and make sure your code is as simple as possible and not messy. No need for you to write complex code. Just make it to be simple and well explanatory. So now I will show you an example of what a messy code and what a simple code is. So for developers in the apps now, you see this function P U. I'm sure you cannot understand what this function is all about, because number one, the naming is not consistent, the naming is not well structured, and it's have a lot of nested function. That is function P U. So let's say I'm a like new developer onboarded to this project now. Just by looking at this code, I won't understand what this code does because I don't know what P stands for. I don't know what U stands for. But I'll show you another example of a clean code. Now you can see this one now. Function process user. You can understand that this function is trying to like check for process users, and you can see the statement. If there's no adult user, it's returned to you. And if there's no active user, because this user is not active. And to also check for adult user, you can see I separated my code. Underneath I wrote another function. This function just only does one thing instead of doing multiple things. Is adult is user an adult. So you can see the user dot age greater than or equal to 18. So if the user is greater than or equal to 18, then the user is an adult. I created another function too, which is the function is active. This one is to check if the user is active. User dot status if the user is active. And this one is to the function to welcome user. So what I'm trying to say is, for this one now, you can see I splitted my code. I wrote, okay, one function for one purpose, one function for one purpose, one function for one purpose. So this way, the code is very easy for a new person to understand or a new developer to understand. Even if a new developer is onboarded to the code or to the project, it will be easier for him to understand the code. So tools and daily habits. Now, there are some tools you can use when you're writing. If you want to write clean code, you can use linter or formatter. Just like VS Code now, you use Prettier to help you like arrange your code. Then we have ESLink, that one is used to check for listing errors. Then we have statics analysis. This is to check for your code. We have CI. We have code reviewers to help you focus on clarity, and we have other stuff. So now let's talk about what old code brings back. Now, what are the things that like make your code messy? Number one, magic numbers or string. We're talking of magic numbers. We're talking of okay when you're just like adding a number to your code, but it's not well explanatory. That's what we call by magic number, which is not meant to be so. Number two is God classes or functions. I've made mention of this. I'm talking of God classes or functions. We're talking of a function that does multiple tasks. Okay, one function does like 10 things as a row. It's not meant to be so. You are meant to like split your code into different functions. Okay, one function for one task, one function for one task, which also helps debugging. Then we have deep nesting and duplication. I've made mention of that too. It's talk of writing your code into different components multiple times. You can just use reusable code. So that once you want to make changes, you don't need to make changes in all aspects of your code. You just make your changes once. Then we have no test, fear of changes. There are some developers they make some changes and they fear the test, which is not meant to be. As I write to your code, you test it, and if there's any error, you debug it. So now for you to start thinking clean today, what are the things you need to like know for you to be able to like write clean code today? Number one, name everything like it matters. If you are writing a variable, if you are writing a function, give it the correct name. If you are writing a function to check the name of the user, you can write function check user's name. Uh-huh. Then also, second thing is you break function into smaller ones. There's no need for you to write one function that does like 10 things as you go. Write one function that performs just one task, one function that performs one task. Is that way it helps to like it helps for readability and other people to like understand your code. Understand, apply the dry and SPR everywhere. That is you like okay, not duplicating your code, but using reusable components too. You write text before and doing changes. So as I'm writing, you write text to check your code. And then you review and refactor your code constantly too. So as you're working, you review your code and refactor. That means you try to improve your code. So, okay, this place is kind of messy. What can I do to also improve my code too? Small abilities equal to massive impact over time. So I want you to know that as time goes on, try to check your code and also try to review your code. So we've come to the end of my presentation today. Does anybody have any question before I go on to ask my question? Does anybody have any question? Okay, Peter.
Okay, good morning, Emmanuel.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for the presentation. Please, I want to seek a clarification where you said, where you talked about comment. You said comment for why and not what. Please, can you expatiate more on what you mean by that?
Okay, yes, comment for why and not what. Yeah, if you're writing a code, instead of you just comment, say, okay, this is what the code does. You get. You can comment that okay, this is why this is why you added the function. The main reason is because let's say later on, I'm sure if you're a developer, at times say you've like written a code like this like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Even if you know what the code does, you might not remember why you added that code. You get. But if you like write a comment, say, okay, this is the reason why you added the code. Even later on in the future, like even if it's 1 year, and you come back and you read your comments, you know, okay, this was the reason why you added this function or you added this code to your project. Hope I've answered your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.